Without telling anyone in advance, management had decided to deduct $20 per month on everyone's paycheck. Hi guys, welcome back to the Quora Zone. Today we're reading from What Office Rule Made You Say, Really? Our first post is from Jan Tammer. Our CEO forbids it, the HR manager said. I was an intern at a startup. One day I noticed my paycheck was missing. I checked my bank account every hour. Nothing came. I couldn't sleep well that night. Next morning in the office kitchen, I asked the other interns, there are about 8 of us, including me, did you guys receive your paycheck? They hadn't either. That's when the HR manager walked in. She pulled us aside and said, you can't talk about paychecks in the office. It's the CEO's rule. I was astonished. Even if they're late? She hushed me. Yes, it ruins team synergy. As soon as she left, everyone raged. Someone said, this is BS. Another shouted, WTF, are we communists? And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. A week passed and still no paycheck, just for the interns. So we gathered and went straight to the CEO's office. A senior intern stepped forward and asked, where's our salary? The CEO didn't even look up. It's coming. Wait another week. I was flabbergasted. So, just to get this right, you mean we should work another week for free? I blurted out. Yes, you're being paid in work experience. We packed our bags and walked out. The HR manager tried to block the exit door.
Jasper, get out of the way!
Turn back around or you'll get sued for insubordination. I hesitated, thinking of turning back, but the senior intern just clapped a hand on my shoulder. Relax, we can sue them first. A week later, the paycheck came. The full-time employees, buried under a mountain of workloads, reportedly demanded the CEO to pay the interns quickly. 3 months later, I quit. Why? Because I learned a powerful lesson. The CEO gave me the most important work experience ever. Never let yourself fall victim to a workplace exploitation. When a company tries to exploit you once, they'll try to exploit you again. I was about to work for a company that banned asking about getting paid. Our next post is from Ben Skirvin. Banned all coffee making devices.
I need coffee. I need coffee.
And all outside coffee from home, restaurants, or coffee shop. Charged $100 per generic Keurig pod and 50 cents in a coin-operated machine. The machine provided only enough water for about 2/3 of a cup. In my experience, nothing is a clearer indication of a company's character and culture than their coffee arrangements. This was one of the most aggressively toxic workplaces I've ever seen. Truly horrible. But even the point is literally 50 cents. And even then, it's not even worth the 50 cents. But just don't understand. It's like with concerts. Oh, you're not allowed to bring any water or food, but we're going to charge you like $50 for some water. Our next post is from Bart Crunk. I worked at a place that instituted a new policy where if you were 10 minutes late, you were docked an hour. I have no idea if this was legal, as it was in the early 80s, and I didn't know what the rules were then. Anyway, I mentioned to a manager that if I was going to be more than 10 minutes late to work, I wouldn't bother showing up until I was an hour late, as I wasn't going to work for free. He didn't grok what I was saying. Naturally, no one's even less than an hour late after that. It didn't take management long to realize their error and change the policy. I honestly just don't get it, just the amount of things that people get just because they're greedy for money. Or they can't even get, but the unfairness. Our next post is from Lisa Newell. A friend at work used to like to make herself a cup of instant oatmeal when she came in, using the boiling water tap. Then she would sit with a cup on her desk and have a spoonful here and there while she worked. Then a supervisor told her that she was not allowed to eat at her desk. But others in the office often had their own mugs that they sipped. So she asked, why could she not have a cup of her desk while everyone else did? Well, coffee, tea, hot chocolate, that is different because it's not food, it's drink. But some people made cupo soup or ramen noodles in their cups. Wasn't that food? Well, yes, that was food, but I didn't need a spoon. What? That's right. You can drink ramen noodles or instant soup without a spoon, but oatmeal requires you to lift it to your mouth with a spoon. Mugs without spoons, okay? Mugs with spoons, verboten. I've just made my oatmeal with more water, so I didn't need a spoon, but she went to HR and complained. HR told her that she could only have food at her desk, food defined as being needed to be eaten with a utensil, if she had a medical condition that required her to eat throughout the day. So she got her doctor to provide a note that she had low blood sugar and required food at her desk. Can we all just take a moment here and realize how ridiculous this is? This is very difficult. This post isn't even needed, but it is to spread awareness on how stupid some office rules are. I get the computer's there, but still, coffee can easily spill. Coffee can easily spill more because it's more liquidy, while oatmeal it's more like thick, and you can spill it with a spoon. But I'm not sure if she's doesn't even matter. The next post is from Jeff Grip. I used to work for a large consumer products company. I was required to take 3 two-week trips per year to different European countries. On one trip after business dinners for an entire week, I decided that I just wanted pizza and beer for dinner. This cost under $10, which I paid for in cash and put on my expense report. I received a tersely worded memo requesting that I don't put cash receipts on an expense report, only use the corporate credit card. On a subsequent trip, once again, I wanted a simple cheap meal again, under $10, which had to be paid in cash. Once again, I put it on my expense reports. This time, I got called down to my personnel. I met with someone who angrily spoke to me about my $10 cash receipt. I tried to explain that this meal was cheap and that any place that I ate with a credit card would be much more expensive. At this point, she became hostile and said, "This is not your first offense. I'm putting you on the list." I said, "Fine," put me on the list, and returned to my desk. 30 minutes later, my boss came to see me. He said, "Jeff."
My name is Jeff.
This is the stupidest conversation that we are ever going to have. You've been put on the list. Whatever it is that you did to get put on the list, don't do it again. Those people love to get people fired, and they have the power to do it. I explained about the $10 meal versus the expensive restaurant meal. He told me that if I wanted to do that, just leave it on my expense report. He often traveled with me, so he understood the whole cheap meal thing. The next trip that I took, I only ate at restaurants that took the corporate card. I didn't have many meals that cost under $100, and I had some that cost more. That was all fine with personnel. No cash receipts was okay with them, regardless of how much my meals cost. When I wanted pizza and beer, I had the hotel to get them for me at a cost of over $50. It was on the corporate card, so it was still fine. Our next post is from Davina. Without telling anyone in advance, management had decided to deduct $20 per month on everyone's paycheck to help defray the cost of the coffee service, as stated in the note attached to everyone's checks. No exceptions. I and the others in the office who didn't drink the company provided coffee, which was about 60%. I was going to say, I don't drink coffee. I would be so pissed off if I got $20 deducted, which was 60%. I am a Starbucks addict and bought my own coffee, protested by pouring several cups of coffee a day and just leaving them there untouched. When management found that coffee expenses almost tripled and why, they cancelled the policy. They then put in a pay machine and priced it at $1 per cup. Nobody used it because you could get a bigger cup for the same price from the convenience store down the street. Plus, productivity dropped a bit as everyone was now going out for coffee. The only time the machine was ever used was by management, when they had to pay out of their own pockets for coffee to serve to visiting clients. The machine was soon removed because the company still had to pay a monthly fee, which was more than they were getting back from the machine, and they went back to the original no-charge coffee setup, and of course, productivity went back up. Our next post is from George Deku. This was maybe 10 years ago, back when I worked in a warehouse. One fine day when I arrived at work, there were no chairs at my workstation. A manager was out there and told me that I'd remove the chairs because the people who worked the previous shift spent too much time sitting around instead of doing their other tasks. But I could go into the office and bring a chair out to the warehouse every day when I came in. When the next person on shift came in, I told her what was going on with the chairs, and her response was, "What is this, junior high?" I was more amused than exasperated, and life continued with me bringing out a couple chairs at the start of work every day. Soon afterward, our senior management became tired of people losing their pens all the time and announced that anyone who needed a pen would have to ask her for one personally. I myself was very methodical about how I used my pen, always putting it down at the same place on the table where I worked and expecting it to be there whenever I needed it. Other people, mostly our regular vendors, were less careful with their pens, and it didn't take long before my pen disappeared, along with most of the others. This was my preferred pen. Now, these were not expensive pens, so the savings our tight-fisted manager gained from controlling their distribution could have not been that much. More importantly, our senior manager's schedule didn't overlap with mine very much, and if I had better things to do with my time than ask the senior manager for a pen every time I needed one, surely that was more true for her. So I took the manager human resources, mentioning both the chair and pen situations in an email. The next morning, an HR person called me on the phone and got some details about everything. About 5 minutes later, I heard the rumble of plastic wheels on the concrete floor of the warehouse, and there was the middle manager with an extra chair in one hand and a fistful of pens in the other. Sounding a little contrite, he dumped the pens on my table and said if I needed more, to please let him know. Often when I hear people talk about HR, it's in the context of how HR is on the side of the employer instead of the employee. So I've had this one instance where HR came through for the little guy. The chairs in the warehouse stayed in the warehouse afterwards, and more importantly, I never had to waste anyone's time by asking my senior manager for a pen. Our next post is from Peru Secrecy. A former employer had implemented a no talking rule. No idle chit-chat, no asking about how so-and-so was doing and how this co-worker's kid was doing. No talking, period. Of course, we all still talked. We implemented a code system to yell when upper management was coming, and we wouldn't talk while they were there. Each upper manager had their own code word. It was hilarious. One of the big mucky mucks came up from Phoenix one day and asked several employees simple questions like what we were working on or what customer was this for. None of us would talk to him. The no talking rule was gone the next day. I just can't get over it. It's just so stupid. Alright guys, that is all from the Quora Zone today. I hope you guys enjoyed these stories of these stupid office rules, work rules, just in general. Let me know in my email or in the comments below of your crazy stories. If you send it to my email, I can read it and then post it for everyone else to enjoy. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.